How's it going, guys? Welcome to TheBlueShifting. Today I wanted to take a little detour from what I'm normally doing, and I found something I wanted to share. How dark is your personality quiz? I really don't know what to expect here. I've never thought of myself being evil. A lot of people who know me say I'm like really kind and like never would do anything horrible to another person, and I tend to agree. However, I found this recommended to me on a website, and I looked at the first couple questions, and I knew that this is something that I thought we could have a really good talk about and potentially discuss the nature of evil. Now, it does say that this is not a scientific quiz, obviously. It's more for entertainment. However, it's based on the works of a book. I believe the book is being called down here, The Man Who Studied Everyday Evil. Now, I don't know much about that novel. I might have to read it after this based on what I'm going to be seeing here, but I just wanted to let you know that that's what we're dealing with here. So, without further ado, let's begin. Alright, click and drag to select your answer. The test should take only 5 minutes. Answer honestly for best results. It'll take a little longer for us because I want to kind of talk about some of this stuff. It's not wise to tell your secrets. I'm actually going to have to say I strongly agree with that. Now, I mean, obviously, secrets can come in two different forms, I think. The two forms of secrets are either they're secrets that you keep from others because they're personal. And I think those are the ones you really need to be careful with. Giving people your secrets can kind of give them an edge over you, especially if there's something that you're sensitive about. You don't want people to be able to try and extort you, I suppose. I've always thought that that's more of like a personal protection, not because I think that my secrets are like super valuable, but more about the fact that I don't want people to be messing with me or potentially giving away stuff that I don't want out in the open. The second type of secret is the kind of secret that you get when someone else tells you something in confidence. Now, once again, that's not wise to reveal those secrets. I mean, you could claim that those could be used as leverage, but ultimately I'm saying that if you ever want to be considered trustworthy, the last thing you should be doing is telling secrets that you know. So, I strongly agree. Don't tell your secrets. Question 2. I like to use clever manipulation to get my way. Now see, this is going to make me look like a dirtbag. This is true. I have to say that I agree. Let's see if I just strongly agree, though, because to me, a way of cleverly manipulating others around you can be involved in mostly being able to avoid fights. Now, how do you do that? Well, you'll learn what people's buttons are, you know what they're annoyed about, and you don't talk about that stuff. You can not so much be lying to them, but you just choose to omit things you normally would say to maybe your friends or other coworkers because you know that it will not have a good effect on them personally. This also goes into the way of, giving, constructive criticism. Constructive criticism is a way of cleverly manipulating what you say in order to try and be helpful and tell them when they're doing something wrong, but not with the intention of trying to make them feel bad about it. It's a tricky thing, but I think if you're not clever about it, you can often find yourself at the bad end of every deal you get in, and that's just not good. Whatever it takes, you must get the important people on your side. I'm going to disagree. Not strongly disagree, because quite frankly, networking is important. It doesn't matter what you do, it doesn't matter who you are, sometime or another, you're going to have to talk to people. And it's important to know who to talk to and who to get on your side. For instance, I used to work at traffic control, and there's a lot of people there, and I didn't get along with all of them. I mean, that's the way it's going to be. But I knew that of all the people I should be getting along with, it should be my boss, my supervisors, and my, the person who signs my hours. The last thing you want to do is get those people mad at you, because then you're not going to be happy no matter what. And when you do have them on your side, when they know you're a hard worker, that you're trustworthy, and that you're, not going to be just lazy whenever you get a chance, they're going to be willing to do favors for you. And that's really important, especially because, 10 years down the road, you might need them to give you, a good recommendation for your dream job. So don't toss aside those people. Remember that even the people who seem annoying can be important, and the most important thing is to remember that wow, it sounds terrible. The one thing to remember is that these people are going to affect you regardless of how you genuinely feel about them. So go that extra mile, work extra hard, and get them to understand who you are. I avoid direct conflict with others because they may be useful in the future. Okay, this kind of goes back to the same thing I was saying before. Coworkers sometimes will say things that you don't agree with. However, instead of like fighting with them or arguing with them about something, it's often better to just kind of let the comments pass and try and have a conversation about something you do enjoy mutually. Or definitely giving a lending and listening ear. People love to talk about themselves, and that's fine. Let them talk about themselves. Just because they seem maybe insignificant or maybe they're just of no consequence, it doesn't mean that they won't be needed in the future. I mean, sometimes you can get yourself in a pickle and you need an extra pair of hands. It's nice to be able to walk up to somebody who considers you a friend and say, hey, can you help me out with this? Can you imagine having to do that with somebody you just argued about like politics with for the past 3 hours? That's not going to go over well. So yeah, you know what? Strongly agree. Avoid conflict. I mean, I don't see how that's evil. Maybe it's a trick question. Alright, question 5. It's wise to keep track of information that you can use against people later. Okay. I'm so bad because I agree, but here's the thing. As much as you could, like, I don't know, try and manipulate people into doing what you want because you have some, like, dirty secret, I don't think that's okay. That's definitely wrong. However, it is important that when you do get those secrets that you could use against them, it's important to keep track of that and to log it so you don't accidentally spread it, for instance. And secondly, sometimes just people knowing that you know makes them a lot more agreeable. Now, I'm not saying that's technically using it against them, but maybe part of them recognizes that if you really wanted to, you could spill all their dirty secrets. And as much as I don't think that that's a great foundation of a friendship, I think, you're not holding your friendship hostage, but effectively, it's kind of a foundation, a starting ground. It could be seen as a sign of trust, or it could be seen as a sign of, ultimate power and control. I'm going to lean on the side that you can use it for good, but I can see how it sounds horrible the way it's phrased. I'm going to be evil at this, aren't I? I'm going to be growing like devil horns as I'm speaking right now. Question 6. You should wait for the right time to get back at people. Okay, well, I'm going to have to kind of disagree. I'm going to screw it. You have to agree. Okay. I never condone payback. Payback is terrible. There's no good that comes out of it. You never feel better afterwards. I have to admit, I've done that, though. I've looked at times where people can really be hurt by the information they've known. And, it's true that if you're going to do it, you have to do it smart. Yeah, it's like you got to pick the right, proper moment. You need to pick the time where it's most optimal. High school was rough. I had lots of bullies and stuff I had to confront with, but this is kind of my tactic against them. It's like saying the right thing at the right time, or even just implying the right thing at the right time, often got me out of sticky situations. I'm not saying I went around looking for dirt or actually threatened people with it, but once again, just letting people know that you have a card you could play if you absolutely had to, like a cornered animal, it can help. I haven't done that a lot. Don't make it. Don't. I'm sorry. I'm really sorry. I don't want you to get the wrong impression of me, but I don't. I see it as a pragmatic way to survive in high school. I mean, I was able to have a really good junior and senior year because I kind of figured out the way to survive when it came to socializing. Maybe it was a little cutthroat sometimes, but it worked. I had a very pleasant high school experience, and I feel like I had a pleasant experience with others, and that they had a pleasant experience with me. So I don't that makes me evil. I hope. Oh gosh. Question 7. There are things you should hide from other people because they don't need to know. That's definitely true. Strongly agree. Look, if I told you right now I wasn't wearing pants, wouldn't you consider that a need to know? I don't need to tell you if I'm wearing pants or not. But some people will literally just talk and spill every little detail about every little thing. Matter of fact, of all the secrets I keep telling you that I somehow acquire, technically came from this. It's like people like to talk about themselves. You get them talking. Sometimes they'll just tell you stuff that they don't want to tell you. And like afterwards, they might even come to you and say like, that thing we talked about, you're not going to tell anyone, right? Like, that's totally happened to me, like, dozens of times. I don't know why, but apparently I have one of those faces that people just kind of feel comfortable with, because I would be out in public. Like, I worked at Subway for 4 years, and one time I had this guy who obviously worked in, like, some kind of Jiffy Lube or something walk up to me, like in his like full suit covered with oil and grease. He walked up, didn't order any food. He just came up to me, talked with me for 45 minutes while I was cleaning the lobby. He told me like everything that was going on in his life, like a newborn niece he just had, talking about like his political views and where the world is heading, and about his job, how he hated it and stuff. And then he's just like, hey, thanks for listening, and walked off. My coworker like turned to me, he's just like, do you know that guy? I was like, I've never met that man in my life. I don't understand. And that would happen to me a lot. I think the key is being able to listen. I think it's important to keep yourself a little to yourself. You shouldn't feel so liberal with all your inner workings, because that can be used against you. Or more specifically, people can end up making decisions for you because they think they understand where you're coming from when they genuinely don't. Alright, question 8. Make sure your plans benefit you, not others. Okay, no. I disagree. I disagree with this, but I can't strongly disagree, and I'll get to that. But I don't think that you should make plans that sincerely just benefit you. I mean, the world is in a place where, especially with the internet, we end up talking to each other a lot. And despite like the crudeness of people who are genuinely just being anonymous and being just jerks, we use the internet to keep in touch with our friends and family. If you're willing to kind of do your part to help other people, oftentimes they will reciprocate. And that's probably the best way to get through life, is not to like demand people help you with things or force them to help you with things, but by genuinely helping others, they tend to want to help you too. I mean, it's not a given. I mean, I guarantee that for 10 people that you help, maybe one of them will return the favor, but when the time comes, your back's against the wall, you'll probably have a couple people willing to back you up. Now, I have to say, you can't just let yourself go willy-nilly with this, because I made that mistake for several years, where I decided I wanted to become more friendly and more open because I'd been pretty shy growing up. And I took the step to being more social, and I really went out there, organized parties, got groups together, spent a lot of time talking and doing tons of things with friends. Within a couple of years, I was so worn out, I just kind of went reclusive again. And now that I've had time to think about it as I've grown older, I've realized a big part of that was that I was putting all of my energy into other people, putting together things for them, doing them favors, talking to them and listening to them when they had problems. And I was receiving almost nothing in return. Most of these people didn't really care about me. They didn't really care about my feelings or about the stresses or the things I was doing on their behalf. Mostly they were just kind of reaping the benefits of my friendship, and that's really unfair. So you should never double backwards just to help other people. You kind of have to make sure that you've got yourself taken care of, and you don't push yourself too hard. So you need that little bit of selfishness and that little bit of self-planning. And looks like the last question, question 9. Most people can be manipulated. Yeah. If you don't think that that's not 100% true, then you fall into that trap yourself. Let me see. I'm going to do something, and I'm going to know for a fact that 99% of you will have a certain thing go through your head. Now, I'm not trying to take a trademark or anything here, but listen carefully. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba. And you know what to say. That's you being manipulated. That's programming your brain. Commercials and edits. And you probably saw a commercial at the beginning of this video. And those things are calculated to get in here, to leave something. Little jingles are excellent. Or little catchphrases. Like, Frosted Flakes, they're more than good. There, and you know the rest. And it's like a part of you. I bet you can't even remember, like, your sister or brother's phone number. Yet you know these things off the top of your head. Like, boom, instantly. You've been programmed. You've been manipulated. So to assume that the majority of people, or even any small portion of people, can't be manipulated is just a bunch of kerfuffle. Malefulo. I don't know. All of it just nonsense words. Just understand. If you think that you're immune, you're fooling yourself. And if you think that this isn't being used against you and everyone you know, then you are living in the dark, because it's everywhere. Oh, more questions. Step 2. Oh my gosh. Okay, got a long way to go here. Question 1. People see me as a natural leader. I'm actually have to keep neither agree nor disagree. I can take the leadership role. I definitely don't mind. But I'm not the kind of person who typically seeks it out. Much rather just kind of do my own thing and be left to it. Not because I hate people, but mostly because I can count on me. I sometimes can't count on others, and I just recognize that fact. Question 2. I hate being the center of attention. That's not true. Now, I don't want to be center of attention all the time, by all means. I love having me time. and just me, reading a book, one of my favorite things. However, I couldn't be doing YouTube if I didn't like at least some attention. I am very comfortable in front of big groups of people, and I often don't feel like I have to script myself in any way. Some people feel like they have to run off a bunch of notes. I usually just use facts and then list them out in bullet points, and then I'm ready to go, and I could give a speech in front of a group of people for 30 minutes. Many group activities tend to be dull without me. Okay, no, I know for a fact that people can party and party well without me there, and I don't mind. Let's just move on. I don't need to be the life of the party, and I typically am not. Question 4. I know that I'm special because everyone keeps telling me so. Well, I am special. I don't know, but people do tell me, but I don't think that I know I'm special because they tell me. I just think that that's good positive reinforcement. And it's okay. Everyone is special. Genuinely, we all have something to offer. So, be proud of that. You're you, and no one else is you. And that means you are a unique part of the universe that has something important to do. Don't know what, but something. Question 5. I like to get acquainted with important people. Yeah, depends on your definition of important, though. If I could meet the president, yeah, I'd be stoked to meet the president. I'd be stoked to meet the president even if I hated the president, because it's the president of the United States. That's an important person, and regardless of political views, it's one of those positions that should be respected because of what it takes to get there. Popular vote. That's a pretty big deal. YouTube. I'd love to meet some of the bigger YouTube stars. Anyone from Rooster Teeth or Achievement Hunter, Anime Man, just because he's awesome, and some of these other really successful channels. I would be so stoked to be able to meet them. I consider them important people. And I also think that just being able to interact with someone who's been so successful can help improve my chances of being successful, because it's an opportunity to learn from someone who's done or achieved things that I never have or might not feel like I can. Question 6. I feel embarrassed if someone compliments me. No, honestly, it's one of those things where I kind of feel like usually if I'm being complimented, it's because I've earned it. I don't often get those empty compliments oh, you're so nice. I am nice, and I hear that sometimes, but I don't count those as compliments. That's just filler, really. But when I see a genuine compliment, I know it's for me, and I know it's because I did something right. Now, if you're gonna give me tons and tons of gorgeous and flamboyant compliments out in public, yeah, I'm probably gonna be a little bit embarrassed, but mostly because I'm sure you're just bluffing. But whatever. Question 7. I've been compared to famous people. No. No, I dreamt of being like famous people. I really love the idea of somebody being able to do things like Isaac Newton, Einstein, or men of distinction or women of distinction. Being able to be someone who can make a difference in the world. I have a big passion for the sciences, and I love the big scientists who are willing to ask the questions no one else was willing to ask. I'm also a big fan of the YouTubers, like I said before. I look up to them. They're people who emulate things that I feel are great accomplishments, and I wish I could see in my life someday. So yeah, I haven't been compared, but I also don't feel like I can say that it's I've just never been compared to them. I feel like I compare myself to them, so I'm going to leave that in the middle. Question 8. I'm an average person. No. Okay. Average is funny because it means the midpoint, not half of the people, because we're on this big spectrum. But average is somewhere in the middle, the 50%. I don't know very many people who consider themselves to be average. Most of us say we're above average. And you know what? That's funny because I think I read in a poll once that said that about 90% of people who you ask, are you average or less than average, will say no. They say they're above average. But that statistic can't be real. So, I might be average. However, I consider myself to be fairly intelligent, and for one thing. So, I don't have an issue grasping a lot of complicated mathematical and physical, processes and components and calculations and just fundamentals. I can grasp things like quantum theory and the Big Bang Theory and evolution, and I consider myself to be well educated. I'm also not average because I'm a larger person. That may be becoming a more common trend, and it's something I'm trying to fix, but I'm not an average size. I'm I also don't know if I'm physically, like sportsman-wise, I've been a below average. So I have a lot of things about me that are far from average. So I'm going to disagree. Question 9. I insist on getting the respect I deserve. This is an interesting one because I want to say yes. I don't think that there's a reason why you can't have the expectation that people will give you at least a modern, like, acceptable level of respect. And a lot of this respect has to come earned, but I mean, that can be easily earned. Using respectful language with other people. This is the big reason why I choose not to curse. It's not because it's not fun. I think sometimes it can be really, really funny. But I like to choose a level of conversation that's comfortable for everybody, because I feel like the respect that I show for all people and for all ages can be something that can be reciprocated back to me. I feel like also that I deserve a level of respect as a human being, and that respect should also be shown, in my actions toward others. And so for me to expect that I can receive that respect, I think is justified. I think it's important to know that you're worth respect, and that by expecting respect, you often can receive such respect. Alright, I think this is the last step. So, last set of questions. Question 1. I like to get revenge on authorities. I've never had a problem with the authorities, so I'm going to say strongly disagree. I don't know. I like walking the line. I like keeping myself to myself and not pushing myself to the limits of, what's decent or whatnot. I don't think there's a reason why you should have to go so out of your way to, break rules. And I've never seen authority figures like police or teachers as the enemy in any way. I mean, granted, they sometimes make decisions or choose to do things that are just not so great, but it's not my place to decide that I have to do something about it. Maybe I can, like my voting and my stuff and situations like that, but I'm not going to go out into the street and start looting because I disagree with what a police officer's done. Question 2. I avoid dangerous situations. Yes, I think that's important. Any smart person would avoid dangerous situations. Oftentimes, I feel like when people seek out situations that are often full of danger, they are either, an adrenaline junkie, somebody who likes living on the edge and pushing themselves to the point where they think they might break, or, quite honestly, I think a lot of people seek out that type of lifestyle probably as a distraction. Maybe there's something else going on that they don't want to remember or deal with, or even just can't find anything worthwhile. There's a lot of reasons why I think people could seek out danger, but I've never been tempted in any way to do that. So, can't say I disagree. Question 3. Payback needs to be quick and nasty. No. Okay. Look, payback doesn't really need to happen at all most of the time. Usually, you give yourself enough time, you stop caring. However, if, this is hypothetical, if I were to get payback on somebody, it has to be the just right way. Like, you have to really make it poetic, I think. Because if somebody's wronged me to the point where I don't feel like I have any other course than to retaliate, then I want to be retaliating in full. I don't want to do a half job or do one that has little effect. I would be very calculating about it, and wow, I am really sounding evil here, aren't I? Maybe I need to go talk to somebody about this, because I apparently have this little, interesting. Moving on. Question 4. People often say I'm out of control. Definitely not. I don't lose my temper. I don't know, I've been lucky that way. I grew up in a household where we discussed things. We never fought. The most I ever had was maybe a shouting match with my parents or siblings, but we never got physical. I never even wrestled my brother growing up, which apparently is really odd. A lot of people wrestle with their siblings and sometimes get into physical fights, but we never did that. So no, I don't feel like I'm ever really out of control. And the few moments I've had where I've really felt like I've been out of control, I usually snap right back to reality real quick, and I haven't really made a bad mistake because of it. Question 5. It's true that I could be mean to others. Well, okay, that's a kind of funny question because technically everyone can be mean to others. if I'm mean to people, I rarely do this, but sometimes I feel like when people really earn my ire, I can get really sarcastic with them, and I often will like do a subtle mocking. I hate to say it like that, but it really is subtle mocking, because very often they don't understand or don't really grasp that I'm poking fun at them. Oh, question 6. People who mess with me always regret it. No, they don't always regret it, because I don't let a lot of stuff get under my skin. People have messed with me before, and I can't just brush it off. Question 7. I've never gotten in trouble with the law. Okay, well, it's agree. I've never gotten into major trouble. I mean, I've had a couple speeding tickets, so I can't say super strongly agree, because technically it's not true. However, I've never broken the law in any major way. No felonies or nothing. Question 8. I enjoy having sex with people I hardly know. Strongly disagree. Look, I'm married and I'm very committed to my wife and my relationship. I'm not really going to be the kind of guy who's going to be looking around for other people. However, I know everyone's life stories are a bit different, but I want to say this, at the very least. I'm also the kind of person who just genuinely couldn't just sleep with somebody who I'd barely met. I'm the kind of person who reserves that for very special people, because I guard my inner emotions and inner parts of me very, very closely. As a matter of fact, I still feel like, even though I've known my wife for years, that we still have levels of understanding and closeness that we haven't attained yet, because I feel like there's still parts of me that are slightly guarded. That's not her fault, it's not my fault, it's just I'm the kind of person who is very slow and methodical about these things, and I feel like a sexual relationship is a very strong emotional connection. I couldn't just have sex with somebody who I didn't feel very, very strongly towards. And that's my personality. I've known several other people who have the same idea, and it's not like it's a religious thing or some kind of like thing I just had shoved on me or forced on me because like I had like really strict parents or something. It's genuinely how I've felt my entire life. So, there it is. Question 9. I'll say anything to get what I want. No, I can't say completely disagree, because I do sometimes change what I say to kind of be more appealing to the person I'm talking to, because I understand their personality and where they're coming from a little bit. But I don't say anything to get what I want. I try not to be someone who lies, I can't tell someone 100% falsehoods. You can sometimes tweak the truth to make it sound like you're saying something that you might mean something slightly different, and that's kind of dirty right there, but it's not that I'll say anything, it's that I'll say some things to get what I want. Alright, let's see. How evil am I? Moderately nefarious. Like Don Draper, you are moderately nefarious. You walk on the dark side of humanity, but your ruthless streak may just help you get ahead. Great. So, apparently I'm evil. I'm not the epitome of evil, but I'm evil. I don't know what the slide means. Like, psychopathy. I'm guessing the blue is like the good, and maybe the calmer, not so much that trend. Because, being a psychopath means that you have no regard for other people or what they think or how they perceive you. And that's really like the opposite of me. When it comes to interacting with people, I'm very aware of what my influence is most likely going to be having on them, and so I try to make that a pleasant experience. I am a bit focused on me, self-centered, not too badly, obviously, but I think that's kind of important. Like, if you literally are completely self-serving, self-giving, and never take anything for yourself, you're just going to get trampled on. It's because I spent years being trampled, and I know what it means, and I'd honestly rather be a little selfish, but still maintain a level of dignity and respect that others will recognize. Now, I don't know this word, because I have never come across it, so I'm going to do a quick Google search, and I'll come back with that definition. Actually, I kind of did know this word, I just wasn't pronouncing it right. It's Machiavellism, and Machiavelli is the writer of The Prince, and he kind of talks about how you do things for the greater good, not so much for people thinking that you're a good person. Well, guys, looks like I'm a little bit evil. If you want to take the test yourself, I'm going to put that in the description below, so go ahead and take it. Leave in the comments what you got and kind of what you thought about this quiz in general. I thought it was pretty appropriate and kind of spot on, but I've never seen myself as evil. But anyway, it was nice to think. Thanks for joining me. Leave a like and subscribe if you find this content interesting. Continue to look for my anime and gaming. I always have something new coming up every week, and until the next video, see ya.